welcome to the deep dive.
Mhm.
We're looking at a really interesting source today, a proposed constitutional amendment in Florida, Article X, Section 30.
Mm-hmm.
And this aims to establish a right for adults to grow, possess, and even gift cannabis personally.
Right. And our goal here really is to quickly get you up to speed on how this text tries to create a very specific system, one that's non-commercial, legally protected, and, well, hard for the state legislature to just dismantle.
Okay, but calling it a fundamental right, right there in the text, that's a huge legal signal.
It absolutely is.
Are the drafters really aiming for strict scrutiny, the highest level of court review? How confident can they be?
That seems to be precisely the goal. By framing it as fundamental, the state would need a really compelling reason to interfere, and any rules would have to be super specific, narrowly tailored.
Okay.
If we unpack the core idea, it's about establishing this personal use right and, crucially, giving immunity from Florida's criminal and civil penalties if you follow the rules laid out here.
That non-commercial part feels key. That's often the weak spot, right? Defining gifting without it turning into, selling under the table. How does this text try to lock that down?
Yeah, they were clearly focused on that. There are very detailed definitions for non-commercial use and, importantly, remuneration.
Remuneration, okay.
Non-commercial means exactly what you'd think. No payment, no bartering, no exchange of monetary value. But the definition of remuneration is incredibly broad.
How broad?
It explicitly covers any service, any value, any other item of consideration. They even specifically call out debt forgiveness.
Debt forgiveness, wow, okay.
Yeah, they're trying to close every conceivable loophole to keep it strictly non-commercial. No sneaky workarounds for that gifting part.
So the legal lines seem pretty tight. Let's talk practicalities for someone at home. Cultivation, what can you actually grow?
Okay, so the limit is set at 100 square feet maximum of what they call unprocessed cannabis plant canopy area.
Canopy area, not plant count.
Exactly, permanent private residence. And there are rules about where it has to be in a secure area, fully enclosed, opaque, so basically not visible from the street or public view.
Makes sense. And possession, the limit is 2 pounds, right? 32 ounces of prepared cannabis. But harvesting must be tricky. You could easily go over that limit temporarily.
Right. That's a common problem in home grow regulations. If you harvest everything from that 100 square feet at once, drying and curing it could easily put you over the limit just for a short time.
So how do they handle that?
Pretty cleverly, actually. The text specifically states that the full harvest from your allowed canopy area is exempt from that 2-pound limit while it's being processed, dried, cured, trimmed.
Ah, okay. That's a practical solution.
It really is. It allows you to legally handle your entire crop without falling foul of the possession limit during that crucial phase.
Now, we should mention the guardrails, too. This isn't a free-for-all.
Definitely not.
It still prohibits impaired driving, having it near schools, things like that. And importantly, it protects the rights of private property owners, landlords, employers.
Yes, exactly. They can still restrict use on their property as long as the restriction is sort of general and not just targeting this specific activity.
Got it. Which brings us to the legislature. Section 6 deals with their authority. What can they actually do?
So, the legislature can regulate time, place, and manner for public health reasons. Think zoning, maybe hours for related activities if any arise, that sort of thing. But, and this is critical, they cannot pass laws that unreasonably restrict, infringe upon, or nullify the fundamental rights laid out in this section.
Does that just mean criminal laws? Could they try to use, say, huge civil fines to make it impossible?
That's where the text puts up its strongest shield. The very last sentence explicitly prohibits the legislature from imposing any civil or criminal penalties for activity that complies with this section.
Any. So no fines, no misdemeanors, nothing if you're following these rules.
Correct. That single line is designed to prevent the state from effectively outlawing the protected activity through other means. It really underscores how protective the text aims to be for this non-commercial liberty.
So, pulling this together for you listening, the sources describe this text as, robust seems like the right word. It's legally specific, aiming to be highly protective of that non-commercial idea, using these detailed definitions and strong checks on the legislature.
It definitely sets a high standard for protecting personal liberty in this area. But there's an important critique raised in the sources we looked at that you should consider.
Okay.
The definition they use for an adult resident, the person who gets these rights requires having a permanent private residence.
Ah, so that focus potentially excludes people who are transient or maybe experiencing homelessness.
Exactly. It ties this fundamental right directly to having a fixed private home.
So here's something to think about. What does it mean for the scope of a constitutional fundamental right when it's defined in a way that hinges on something like permanent residency? Definitely something to mull over.
Until our next deep dive.